We are now diving into the next part of the Earth War saga. This is Aliens issue 2 of 6. We will eventually be going over the entire series. The first Aliens comic that came out was Aliens, 6 issues. And then they made a volume 2 Aliens, which is 1 through 4. And then the last one, I think they actually titled Earth War, where Newt and Hicks and Ripley are reunited and they go to take back the Earth. And I apologize that the last video was rather long, but I wanted to stress the importance of what these comics mean to the fandom. So with that said, love this cover. The artwork, the color, and just think about it, back in the day, them being kind of underground, they, printed in black and white was cheaper, but it actually adds to the horror. But I love that they at least made the covers color. Absolute beauty. And when I look at this artwork, think about early 80s into the early late 80s into the early 90s. For the movies that I saw as a kid, this reminds me of artwork you'd see like in the Heavy Metal movie or Akira. And I love it. And then the alien there on the rippled panel of the ship with the knife. Beautiful stuff. And then I miss these. These were beautiful. And even though this has really nothing to do with the comic in and of itself, you get the face huggers there and you're just like, bleh, and you actually see I think it's the ovipositor they call that, and it's bleh, bleh. And the guy's just working there like, whatever. Now, I saw Aliens at a young age. I think around 8. And I think that's what got stuck in the back of my subconscious, because when I got into 5th or 6th grade is when I got the novels that I've talked about. And yeah, it's just Aliens has been with me since. So this is Mark Verheiden doing the script, Mark A. Nelson doing the art, and Will Schubert doing the lettering. And real quick, just to kind of reference what I'm meaning, is to this day, I'm an old fart now. I remember a couple years back, we went to a con, and I'm just moseying around, whatever, turn around, and I am face to face with a life-size replica of the egg, of the ovomorph. The old fart in me knew it was a prop, replica, cool, loved it, looked great. The 10-year-old in me made me leave that booth rather quickly and take a picture from a distance because the egg was open. Yeah, anyway. Now remember, if you've gone with us so far through issue 1, if not, I'll make sure to leave the links up here. Remember how I was talking about the borders being very kind of clinical and clean, and then as the nightmares came and things intense, how they would just go into those like guts and blood. Here, there's not really a border per se. It's very kind of clean, but then on the edges you see like blood, kind of like that life fill. And then we have black boxes. I'm blind. Get it off, Jesus. Jesus, I can't. You're my brave little captain. I'm so scared. Pain, I can't see. Fly, fly away, my brave little captain. I remember that song. My mother used to sing it when I was small. Pain's going away. God, I feel warm now. Now, in terms of the traditional comic craft, you have the writer and the artist and the inker and the colorist, but a lot of people always underestimate the letterer, because back then it was an art form in and of itself instead of just taking stock and putting it in Illustrator or Photoshop. Look at how, when he goes, I'm blind, look at how very rugged and intense it looks. But then when we see this very calming text bubble, the borders starts to recede. And when he finally says, I feel warm now, look at how the border, even though it's kind of still torn, it's gone. And then we get this panel, which is something to me as you would call experimental, because it's symbolism. Rather than just having panel, this is what happened last issue. A lot of how comics are now, unfortunately. We get this very harrowing, otherly feeling of a womb. You see a baby. But as you look at it, if you're just flipping through and reading it, you're going to miss it. These are the type of books, like with art, you stop, you stare, and you look at the intricacies. Look at how the placenta doesn't look right. Look at how the inside of the tummy It feels off. It feels like a hive. How the placenta looks like a facehugger tail. And then after we look at this and you're just kind of, ugh, we see I'm not scared anymore. I don't have to be. She's going to take care of me. So we're seeing that mother's love. Keep that in mind. Print date on this was September 1988. It's so warm. I'm part of something new and better. I keep remembering my mother. You spend your whole life trying to forget the warmth of the womb. But the world's so empty, so cold. I see it so clearly now. I was hungering for the warmth again, for the almost preternatural togetherness. We pretend with our bodies, but it isn't the same. It can't be the same. Career, job, country, all farce. What does it all mean? Reality is the vast loneliness of our solitary, cold existence. I'm blind, but I finally see. So keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. We don't know a whole lot yet. We just get a little snippet for our brains to go back to issue 1 and go, oh, hey, junket. And again, one thing I've always loved about these early comics, particularly with Dark Horse, and I don't know if maybe it's just Mark Verheiden but the way that the writer speaks in a poetic cadence, and how the art team takes it and gives you that emotional connection with the art. Now, before we can find out why we're so focused on this dude, we cut away to cold, clinical. I'm staring at the ceiling, tranked again. Authority, think. The one that makes you feel like you're suffocating. I relive the past again and again. I was born on a terraformer transport in deep space. My parents called me Rebecca, but everyone called me Newt. Our new home was a desolate rock, christened Acheron. My parents had volunteered for the mission in the romantic spirit of the old Earth pioneers, but there was little romance on that cruel world. So I love how we get her on the ship when she was born. The work that everyone had to do on Acheron, because remember that's LV-426 from Ridley Scott's Alien. And then when they finally find the space jockey's ship, the wind and the cold meant nothing to the aliens. They waited dormant until the time was right. I was the only survivor. And so what I love here is with issue 1, we kind of get that pseudo memory dream to just kind of bring us up to speed on where Newt is now 13 years later. And back in the day, think about that. If you miss out on issue 1 and you grab issue 2, you at least realize who this person is and why she's so important. This is frickin' Newt. This is Rebecca Johnson from Aliens. James Cameron's, probably, other than Terminator 2 and Terminator, one of the best films he's ever made. And then again, last issue, we got Hicks's backstory after the Sulaco arrived on Earth. This issue, we get kind of her backstory in a nutshell. I was found by a Marine rescue team and returned to Earth. The doctors lost interest in me when I didn't respond to their treatments. I'm staring at the ceiling. There's a circular light in the center humming softly. Cracks spread across the plaster like wrinkles on an old man's face. No, like wrinkles on my face. And I love these old indie comics because we go from, again, a very much just kind of explanatory panel to just straight up surrealism, to go into that psychological realm of what the aliens do to people, even those who survive. And then we get the Hicks, don't leave me, and we get a quick snip of what happened last issue, where we find out she's in a mental asylum, and Hicks visits her, and then she's drug away because she tries to tell him what's happening to her. And then that's where we pick up issue 2. Now, in terms of the novelization, chapter 5, because book issue 1 is expounded upon issues 1 through 4. Issue 5 picks up with excerpts from the script of the top secret audiovisual presentation, Theory of Alien Propagation by Winslow Arona. And so this basically goes over, talk about how the aliens set up egg chambers, how they survive, and then what the video is actually showing. So like VO, humans suffer from self-centered notions to the nature of life. The alien slowly uncurls. Musical sting. Voiceover continued. Humans assume that alien life forms should conform to the standards that match our own, including logic and morality. The alien is uncurled in its full glory now. Slowly it rotates to face the camera. Music continues over. Even among humans, morality is ignored when expedient. Why should we expect more from an alien life form than we demand from ourselves? The alien stretches out its arms and legs and tail so that it becomes a parody of the man's. Reach should equal his height. Illustration by Da Vinci. Push in slowly. The alien expands to fill the screen. If we know nothing else, we must know this about the aliens. First, they will not be like us. Second, truly understanding them will be almost impossible. The alien fills the screen. Dial down music and push through to black. That's how chapter 5 picks up. Here, we see Hicks still on his drunken and disorderly downward spiral. Hicks, don't leave me. I'm not leaving, darling. I've left. Christ, that was stupid. The hell's wrong with me? I never needed anyone before. Nice hair. Must have been the booze talking. The Marines, the lucky few. I was one of the lucky few. Go Marines, by God. I kept remembering Acheron, Drake, Vasquez, even that ass Hudson. They were okay. Okay, hell. They were buddies. And I let them all die. I had to stay clear, keep the focus. I've been waiting for my chance to get those alien bastards ever since I came back. I couldn't screw up now. Couldn't complicate it. Sorry, Newt. I go. You stay. So we see that he's basically going back to his old habits because he was unable to save Newt, and he sees what her life is. And then we kind of get at the idea of who Colonel Stevens is. Keep him in mind because he is important later. He is the commanding officer that is going to the aliens' homeworld. Hicks is his second in command. Listen to this because I don't want to go over all this, but this particular panel right here is important. Soldier, what are those crates? Plasma rifle, sir. 35 chargers and 25,000 packs per Corporal Hicks's request. Have Corporal Hicks meet me in the Sky office now. Blasters are notoriously unstable and grossly destructive. We're not collecting we're collecting specimens, not pieces. Perhaps your previous experience has distorted your judgment. First time you face off with one to those things, you'll wish you had something stronger. Maybe Command's impressed with you, but I'm not. I won't jeopardize the mission or the ship with those blasters. Take them off. Keep that in mind. Again, lots of foreshadowing in these books. And then we get back to that abstract feeling again. And look at how the alien looks more like a dragon eating the mother's face. The darkness is a blanket. Something drips like sweat, all warm and sticky. Feels good. Fly, fly away, my brave little captain. We were one. God, I loved you. Then I was torn from you, forced into this naked existence, so alone and cold. I never thought I'd feel that love again. My true mother is part of me. I can feel her sliding wet in my throat, feeling my lungs and my stomach, wrapping her fingers inside so warm, so warm. Her teeth glitter like the stars. Gosh, she's impossibly beautiful. She loves me more than you ever could. And I just, that madness feeling of the text panels and what he's actually referring to. Now we see Hicks training his grunts, essentially losing himself in his work. However, remember in last issue, Newt said she had a hearing coming up to see if she can get out of the asylum. She goes, I'll be good. I'll try harder. We've been through this before, Rebecca. Trying isn't good enough anymore. And I love, again, instead of using kind of like traditional paneling, we get that light, two heads looking down on her in that judgmental, very, her small in the center, them big in the foreground. We've been through this before, Rebecca. Trying isn't good enough anymore. You have forced us to take drastic measures. Burn the tissue. Really quite painless. It's only a minor operation. We target the specific areas in the brain responsible for your problems. And you'd use a laser scalpel to sever. You won't feel a thing ever again. Hicks hacks in. Reads the file on Ward's seat about Newt. Less than 12 hours to liftoff. I told Stevens I had some last-minute business off base. He wasn't happy, but what was he going to do, fire me? 12 more hours and I would have been in space. I never should have signed into the security mainframe. Accessing the institution's patient files was a piece of cake. I guess I was curious. He busts into Ward's seat of filled Crest home. And saves Newt. There was a time when living and dying meant something to me. My old squad, Hudson, Vasquez, and the rest, faced hell itself to rescue a scared little girl, and now they wanted to destroy her. Jesus, my friends died to save her. Newt was the only thing left of them. And just like that, without having to say it, we realize why Hicks is on such a self-destructive spiral and why he wants to save Newt. Now, I don't want to spoil everything. Suffice it to say, Hicks saves Newt and takes him with him. And I'm going to leave it at that. Now, we are introduced to two very snooty-looking gentlemen. They remind me, I don't remember their names, but the grumpy guys in the Muppet Show that stand from the balcony. Hur, 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 hur. Great show. I haven't heard industrial noise like that since college. We deserve a little rec time. It's been hell and a half since we started planning the intercept mission. Keep that in mind too, please. Right now, everything looks good, but I'm still a little worried about that last-minute business with Massey. It was a damn stupid mistake. We are introduced to Patrick Massey. Oh. Now, these two guys, they have names. I can't remember them off the top of my head from the comics, but in here, they're referred to as red and blue. It's either red and blue or blue and green. One of the two. But just so you guys know. We then cut to a little boy. Apparently, one of the communications people sent Massey some classified mail through an unclassified channel. Hey, Mom, look at this. Oh, my God. We see the Xenomorph. Regulations are quite queer on procedures in cases like this. But one must admit it was an unusual situation. Massey had been married close to 6 years. He took pains to make it look like a robbery gone bad. The police didn't suspect a thing. Under the circumstances, Massey performed admirably. I had the psych boys do a workup on him right before liftoff, and he registered well within tolerable limits. I wonder how it feels being a sociopath, I mean. I would imagine it's quite liberating. And so we get that juxtaposition of background covered in shadows, the mother, the son. And then these two guys just talking like it's the weather, cigars. We deserve wreck time, wine. Very horrific people. Now I'm going to show the last page of the comic. If you do not want the spoiled, pause, go check out these comics and come back. Remember these panels that we've been talking about with the womb and things not looking right, and talking about my true mother and how she glistens like the stars. And then we see the pilot of the junket, James Lakowski. These guys work for a company called BioNational. Now, I think these came out, so 88, I don't think the director's cut of Aliens came out at this time. Now think about it. Originally, before any director's cut, Alien and Aliens, they always said the company. They never, ever said Weyland-Yutani. The only time that I think Weyland-Yutani was finally ever uttered was in the director's cut of Aliens, when we cut away to the inside of Acheron and the little boys riding the tricycle, and then we see a sign that says Weyland-Yutani, building better worlds. So I think at this point they called it BioNational because they had to call the company something. But if you go look at Xenopedia, it will say that BioNational and Weyland-Yutani were rival companies. But nowhere in this series does it ever reference Weyland-Yutani. So keep that in mind. Now, James Lakowski. In the interim, our BioNational research team continues its examination of the human specimen salvaged from the ejected pilot's pod of the cargo vessel Junket. That was the ship that they blew up in issue 1, and then the alien came over on their probe. Now, remember how he's talking about, don't leave me, mother. You feel so warm as you feel my belly. Someone's out there, mother. Yeah. Human specimen's pod had been damaged, causing loss of atmosphere. But vitals were somehow preserved by the infusion of the alien life form. After retrieval, both specimens were brought to BioNational's Houston labs for analysis. Something touches me, mother. I can feel it in my arms and my chest. My arms and my chest. Preliminary reports from our weapons specialists are encouraging. Full-scale testing should commence within the next 48 hours. We shall provide daily updates for all members of the BioNational board. Protect me, mother. Don't let them hurt me, please. And so we see what happened to James Lakowski of the Junket. And I love that we don't get a whole, like we get that one shot of him when he says, I'm blind, but I finally see. But we don't put two and two together quite yet until we see this. And this series, too, what really makes me go, is the fact that the face huggers in these comics, the spines, I'd never seen those before. And it was just like, it's just another level of terror for me. So, guys, definitely got to get issue 2. Epic read. And as I said last time, read these together. Read this and then read the chapters that correspond to it. It just adds another layer for you to appreciate, even though Wilkes is Hicks and Billy is Newt, and then Ripley is an android when it comes to the female wars. So with that said, if you guys have enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and local bookstores and get both of these. And if you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate it. Take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little facehugger bell, next subscribe. That way as I get to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel. I love talking with y'all. Hearing your feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure the links down in the description. And if you enjoy what I do, and you'd like to support the channel, I've left a PayPal tip jar link in the description. And if not, I still appreciate you watching this video. Either way, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.